Hello, hello! On today's show, let's talk some dragons. Or maybe just a dragons. Stay tuned. Mike read a new book with an old school 80s feel. And then McFarlane inks a deal with Marvel, but still rattles his tin cup. Welcome to your favorite comic book, geek culture related live stream. Comics and collectibles in the crawl space. I am your fourth or fifth favorite podcasting live streaming host, Kevin. And we are short one person you might be able to tell already. But of course, Mike is here.
Hey, what's up? You're my sixth or seventh favorite effects person.
Right. And then, of course, you can see Patrick is here as well.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Pat, you sound good today. That microphone's working. Knock on wood.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, that does sound good.
I got to shut my mouth.
Yeah, you might be jinxing it. Pat's like, I don't know how it changed. It sounds fine. It's better. That's good. Fine. But yeah, take the loop off the clap track, Mike, or maybe, yeah. So you can, like, obviously joking already that Karen is not with us today. So all the background production duties fall to another thing I have to do, which means something will fall. I won't. You think it would compound and I'd be able to hold up, but no. Whatever I do when it's Karen's job that would be done, something of mine's going to fall or vice versa, so
yeah, it's more like
how this goes.
It's more like background destruction instead of production.
Yeah, background destruction, good way to put it. Yeah, but we really miss Karen when she's not here, that's for sure. So anyway, all right, regular show today, back to a regular show, which is nice sometimes when we don't have the complexities of all the added, got the nice structure going on. And I've heard from many fans that that's one of the things they love about our show. They love the segment structure. You hear that a lot, Mike?
I do.
Right. Yeah. All right, cool. So we're going to start with me because that's the way the show works. As I scroll down and stall with my voice while I try to because that's the other problem. I got to go different places in the screen whenever Karen's not here too. Anyway, enough of all that complaining. Okay, hey, I've got a little bit of thank you, studio audience. I've got a little bit of a bonus. This isn't actually going to count towards my movies that I watched this week. I just wanted to kind of point this out. So you can call it cheating if you want to. But I want to put this in here real quick because I think, especially you, Mike, this might be right up your alley. Have you ever heard of... Hold on. Bone Tomahawk.
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Pat, have you heard of it?
I have heard of it, but I've not seen it yet.
Man, I don't know why I never heard of it. This was out in 2015. And I just discovered this on HBO Max. And what's crazy about it to me is everybody and their brother seems to be in this movie. Of course, you can see on the poster here, Kurt Russell But then also Patrick Wilson, which he always sticks out with as the sheriff in Pitch Black to me. Matthew Fox from Lost. Richard Jenkins, he always sticks out to me as the dad in Step Brothers. David Arquette. And then your boy, Sid Haig, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although briefly.
Yeah. This movie will take a hard turn on you.
Definitely. And that's why in the pregame we were talking for a minute about how do we consider horror kind of a geek culture subgenre, whatever. And I don't even think you chimed in, Pat, but I think me and Mike already gave the stamp of approval of being geek culture. What do you think about that, Pat? Do you think horror falls in that? What Mike was saying?
Yeah, I think, if it didn't before, it definitely does now, because it's got that niche fandom just like everything else we love.
So obviously I'm mentioning horror because it's kind of related to this movie. Yeah, don't be fooled by this poster that this is your old style Wild West type Western. I didn't even know this was a thing, Western horrors. Mike, were you familiar with Western horrors at all before this?
No. And I thought this was just a straight up Western until it wasn't. And then after I was done watching it, then you're just, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I want more of that same thing. And yeah, I don't know anything else.
That's actually, that's actually a good thing to say, because I don't know if we're exactly tracking the same, but I want to say the same thing too, that I wanted more of this movie in particular, this story and these characters.
Yeah.
In particular, are you referencing you just want more kind of Western horror type movies in general, or more of this movie in general?
Yeah, I'm kind of both. I was more just in general this type of movie, but yeah, this particular these characters and storyline, or just the lore around the whole entire thing. There's so much more to be told.
Yeah, it was crazy, and so this is not for kids.
No,
this is very gory. Has a couple other things that are adult oriented in there as well. But I just want to bring this up because I randomly found it and got sucked into watching it. Big Kurt Russell fan, so it seems like anything he's on the screen will draw me in right away, But this was a crazy ride and very interesting. Overall, I'll give it like a 7, maybe an 8 actually. I'm going to give it an 8. The reason I started to lean into 7 is because I didn't know how I felt mixing those two genres for me, because I'm not a big horror fan, but I am a big Western fan. So it was a little bit conflicted there, but yeah, I'll give it an 8. I mean, obviously the acting was great. I shouldn't say obviously, but the acting was great. Story was interesting. And, I was compelled. It was compelling the entire time. So I'll give it a solid 8 for your Western horror. Bone Tomahawk. Check it out. It's from 2015 on HBO Max. A little bonus there for you. But let's get into some more new relevant stuff. I watched If.
My kids they're chomping at the bit to watch this one.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them watch today's show until after they see it then.
They don't care about spoilers.
Okay. So this is If with Ryan Reynolds, obviously being the big draw. Kaylee Fleming is the little girl you see in the poster here. And then John Krasinski actually wrote and directed this, and he stars in it, of course, too. And actually, what's Michael's name from The Office?
Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Scott.
The actor.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. Steve Carell's the big purple monster in the background. He voices that. So anyway, so IF is an acronym for imaginary friend. And you can see in this poster, got a lot of imaginary friends in the background there. And this kind of gave me from the trailer. I was kind of thinking Who Framed Roger Rabbit type thing, with people and cartoons, and maybe not Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but those kind of movies that mix those puppets and people and all that. So I totally thought this would be a cool little new family friendly kids type movie or whatever.
Mhm.
And of course, Ryan's all the rage. And John Krasinski is, for that matter, too. He's got so much going on now, too. But anyway, so this is a very simple story. This girl, she's 12 years old. She loses her mother. They don't really get into the depths of how. I'm assuming it's cancer. It's always cancer. But then she grows up, and gives up being a kid. She's 12, running around telling everybody, I'm not a kid. Don't talk to me like that. I'm not a kid, that kind of thing. And she's not mean or anything. She's just a very somber, sad, depressed girl. And of course, because of her mother, because then John, her father, he gets some kind of disease. And it's kind of weird how ambiguous in this movie they are with describing what's wrong with her mother and father. The mother gets an illness and dies, and the father gets an illness, and we're worried about him dying, but we never hear any of the details of that. And I guess that's a good thing. I mean, if it's a kid's movie, it kind of wants to give you that feel of understanding why she's so bummed out about life. But
also
without
from a kid's perspective, that's that the way they see things a lot of times is they don't see the big picture of it. They narrow it down to the loss of a parent. It's like how isn't important. It's the fact that it's happening. So I'm just guessing, not having seen this movie.
No, that sounds like actually it makes kind of sense. But yeah, so we don't know what the father's going through, but he is possibly deathly ill. And so anyway, all of a sudden, Ryan Reynolds appears with his imaginary friend, which is that little black and white Mickey Mouse kind of old school cartoony looking lady on his right shoulder there on the poster. And she can see them. So then we go on this adventure of figuring out how she can see them, why she can see them. And of course, then it's, let's get everybody else to see them, because basically imaginary friends don't go away. They just become ignored. You have your imaginary friend when you're a kid, and then you grow up and you stop thinking about your imaginary friend. Well, they're still there. Now they're lonely because you ain't paying them no attention. And since you don't pay them any attention, you don't see them anymore. So it's kind of, the whole, kind of age old story. How many times we've seen it of, appreciating your childhood, going back to your childhood again for all these reasons. And now we add another one onto it, that your imaginary friends are out there alone, Mike, your little buddy from back in the day. He's chilling out there in the weeds by himself because you won't pay him any mind anymore.
I missed out on that part of my childhood.
Yeah, me too. I didn't have one. You have an imaginary friend, Pat?
No, not that I recall. I think about that sometimes, but it's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Calls into question how, were there really imaginary friends? Are imaginary friends real? That might be another. We were talking before the show. That might be another one of those Elon Musk questions.
That is a very valid question. That's a very good point. Because when I think about back in the day, I did a lot of talking to myself, of course.
Right, you're talking to you. You're not talking to, Joe Schmuckatelli over here.
Right, exactly. So anyway, this movie is very predictable, and I have not enjoyed a.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? With some of my.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see it went to random mute? Anyway, I have not enjoyed a kids movie less in 20 years I don't know. A long time, man. But this movie, I feel like it's just relying on star power and maybe kind of fun visuals. But man, this movie is so predictable. And the story in general, in my opinion, is just bad. It's just, it makes it doesn't even have a point. It just kind of goes and then kind of makes you kind of come up with your own point. I don't know. It was really odd for me. I was trying to enjoy this movie. I love these kind of movies. This is, we've talked a lot about, how, superheroes and stuff have gone the Wolverine and Deadpool route and stuff recently. So I'm like really down for movies like this, and yeah, I wasn't feeling this at all. This is literally probably, I think the last one I saw this bad was Duggo. It was a horrible movie too. I can't remember that from back in the day, but anyway, it wasn't so back in the day, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But if on Paramount Plus, if you're looking for a fun, interesting, heartwarming kids family movie, if ain't it for me, I'm gonna give this a real solid 3.
I thought you were going to say 2. It's like,
The only reason I went 3 is because the visuals are cool and the acting's fine, but the story is just lost and dumb and predictable, So I would be interested to hear you said, with Mark and Corey getting ready to watch this. I'm interested to hear what they have to say about it from a kid's perspective afterwards.
Yeah.
So does my mic still sound okay? I'm getting a little feedback now too. I think my mic is possessed right now. Okay. Anyway. And then I got back to watching House of the Dragon. Season 2 just dropped in June. Not just in June. On HBO Max or just Max or whatever. I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying now with that. But
it's an HBO original on Max.
Right. That's stupid. Whatever. Anyway. And then Cinemax still exists, I think, too, doesn't it? It's one of those upgraded sub subscriptions inside. Anyway.
Like we don't have a lot of complications in life already.
Right. So anyway, I was a little bitter when I discovered House of the Dragon came out, which incidentally, that's the first thing I'm going to talk about right now. First of all, me and Jesse were calling this, and everyone I talked to about this call it House of the Dragons. Okay? And then we observed it's actually House of the Dragon. Okay? And then me and Jesse actually had a conversation, and she told me because, I don't know whether you guys are, well, actually, I do know Mike, Emily is, but I don't know about Chelsea's tastes. But, fantasy, dragon, books, love stories, and they're kind of hardcore in a bunch of ways, are all the rage with middle-aged or somewhere around there women nowadays. Are you guys aware of this?
Yeah, I think there have been a few. It's like a lot of the YA books are, they're written. There's like sets of it runs through 5 issues or 5 books, and there's a few of them that Emily has read, and I think Jesse's read as well. And
no, they aren't. They aren't YA.
Oh, okay.
They are totally hardcore adult.
They are.
Oh, yeah, if you didn't know, Mike, now you know.
Old adult.
Yeah. Well, it's 2024. This is just an old man's opinion, I guess. They shouldn't be for young adults.
Or maybe they're not. It's just a lot of times the covers for
they
the
seem
YA
that way.
books
Yeah.
seem just like in the same vein.
Yeah.
But
it's
this thread of fantasy dragon stuff.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you. I'm tracking how you're thinking. But yeah, these new ones I'm referring to specifically are just for grown women. I'd be mad if I caught one of these in my 21-year-old daughter's hand, let alone my 14-year or 15-year-old daughter's. But anyway, 16, 8.
Well,
She's gonna be so mad when she watches this. Anyway.
Well, when Emily talks about those books, it could be one set of books, or it could be 3 different, books series. But
that's true. That's true.
When I'm listening to her talk, I'm envisioning, it's like, so this is what it sounds like. This is how she feels when I'm talking about comic books to her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I actually shared a TikTok or something with Jesse about that. That's what it was when my wife talks to me about what she's reading, and it's just her blabbering. Yeah.
It's like I'm listening, but I'm just not grasping it all.
Right. We can totally relate, or we can relate to how they've probably been relating to us for a while now, basically. Yeah. So anyway, the reason I bring up those books right now, aside from this kind of like the same thing as House of the Dragon, but due to those books, my wife pointed out to me the difference between a wyvern and a dragon. Do you know the difference between a wyvern and a dragon, Mike?
Yes.
Pat?
No.
Mike, what is it?
I've heard of a dragon. I've never heard of a
Oh. That's fair. That's fair. But what you more appropriately, you should have said no. Anyway, I'm going to actually agree with you a little bit. And I'm actually going to call you out, Mike, on this a little bit, because you should have heard of a wyvern, because I noticed the wyvern description as one of the creatures in Magic the Gathering.
You pay attention to that more than I do.
Oh, but when you look at the card, it looks like a dragon. So okay. Wyvern and dragons are always interchangeable to me. But here it is, Mike. I know you've been waiting for this, Pat. I know you've been waiting for it too.
That's why I'm here.
Dragons have 4 legs. Wyvern only have 2. And then they're 2 legs and wings. They're kind of more like birds, right?
Okay.
And the dragons, they actually have 4 legs. They walk on 4 with wings on their back, like, like the typical dragon. That's the difference, okay?
Okay.
Now, I bring that up because the name of this is House of the Dragon. We thought it was the House of the Dragons because there's a bunch of dragons in this. Remind me and the audience again. I should have just said the audience to try to hide my ignorance and faulty memory. What are you guys at with Game of Thrones? Did you watch any of the Game of Thrones or anything? Pat?
Not me, no.
First episode, that's it.
First episode of the first season of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Hey, can you catch up? Just watch all 8 seasons, 9 seasons of that, and then the first season.
Wait, I can make it worse.
What?
I've watched it twice.
Oh.
Because we watched it. I bought the Blu-rays. We watched it, and then we never got this episode 2 because just everything, life or whatever. And then we said, you know what? We need to go ahead and catch up now. So we watched it again and just never got back to episode 2.
Are you guys like me in the way that you envision the future in having a lot of time, right? Like when we're old and retired and we don't have the day-to-day grind to deal with as much, and our kids are out with their own lives and they're not quite paying as much of attention to us as much as they used to. So we got a lot of time on our hands, right? Is that the way you guys envision aging?
I did until the other day when Marcus said that he wants to go to George Mason so he can go to school and then still live at home.
Well, there'll still be a day, Mike. There'll still be a day, unfortunately, that our kids will want to have very little to do with it. I shouldn't say it so negatively, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So when that happens, Mike, get around to Game of Thrones, because someday I think, and you too, Pat, I think you both would love it. I mean, it's very cool and interesting and deep and just all the things that make Game of Thrones good. So anyway, so House of the Dragon. So we haven't discovered where the dragon is. So we think there's kind of a little play on words with the House of the Dragon, that there's like, what's the dragon? Because all the ones we've seen ever since Jesse pointed this out to me are all wyverns, which I thought was a little interesting tidbit, So anyway, House of the Dragon has been getting, I feel like as much hate as it's been getting love. I feel like it's not Game of Thrones in the way that I think Game of Thrones up until the final season was kind of universally loved. I feel like House of the Dragon's a solid 50-50 split. But in my opinion, I think it feels exactly like Game of Thrones to me, with obviously just different players and more dragons. In Game of Thrones, part of the first, I think, 3 seasons was there's no dragons, but there was 3 dragon eggs. And then, you know, Circe, I think, was the queen. I can't remember, my memory. But anyway, then she made 3 dragons hatch. So there were 3 dragons, technically 4. That's a whole nother thing. But this is a prequel to Game of Thrones. So there's just like dragons, wyvern, whatever, everywhere. So much so when people see them, they not only aren't surprised, but they know exactly what's the names of them and who that dragon belongs to and stuff like that. It's really cool, different perspective. And basically this is just about really similar to Game of Thrones in the way that, there's these 2 ladies on the poster I have here are both, well, the lady on the left's son is king, and the lady on the right is supposed to be the queen. It's very complicated why that's complicated, but that's the gist of the show. So it's basically people fighting over the throne, and it's the same exact throne you can see in the background as the Game of Thrones throne, the main throne that's built of swords, you see everywhere. This show is fighting over that same throne that the Game of Thrones show was fighting over, just this is like 1,000 years earlier.
So I've been fighting over that same thing for a long time.
Well, they fight and then someone lands and then they have peace and then something happens. Like in the beginning of this one, the king died. So, that's when it all comes, So there's peace. Once they decide there's peace during someone's lifetime, and then when they die, it becomes complicated and all the wars happen. And then until someone lands again, and then there's peace, that seems to
sort it all out.
And what's cool about this too is I'm assuming, I don't know this, and you know what they say about assuming, but I'm assuming that this will end in this major epic thing that they constantly talked about in the Game of Thrones, but it was kind of like, Star Wars when they talked about the Clone Wars, like, what's the Clone Wars? What's the Clone Wars? And then finally we got it, So this is kind of explaining this big event. That's what I'm assuming again, that they talked about in Game of Thrones all the time. But I'm loving this, and season 2 is more to love, in my opinion. I'll give this a solid as far as fantasy streaming shows. I mean, you can't beat this. I'm going to give this an 8.5, 9. I mean, this is really, really good stuff if this is what you're into. And actually, not even what you're into. I'm just telling you, Mike, watch this and you'll be into it. Pat, watch it. You'll be into it. Okay.
Well, I got to watch Game of Thrones first. So,
well, I know. Right. Yeah.
So I can wait, I can wonder what that big event is going to be. And I get the same payoff.
Exactly. I agree. 100%. That's what I tell people all the time when they tell me about or they ask me about what order you watch Star Wars. You got to watch the OG, watch in the order of release so you can appreciate it the way we did. That's the way it was written, Yep. Right, Pat?
I agree.
Okay, good. So anyway, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon on HBO Max. And then lastly, and I intentionally didn't bring this up in the pregame, did y'all do your homework?
Partly.
Patrick?
My dog ate my homework, and I don't have a dog.
I almost went with my dog ate the second part of my homework. Because, I watched the first 40 minutes.
Okay, so we're talking about Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. This is on Amazon Prime, right? Yes.
I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
I just saw it and watched it.
So why'd you only watch the first, what'd you say, 40 minutes? That's a random amount of time.
Yeah, because at 20 minutes probably I was done. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep giving it a chance. And then I was just out. I don't know. I mean, when King Kong was fighting other Kongs with and using a baby Kong as a weapon, that was silly. The silliest thing was his bad tooth, right? So right out of the gate, he's got a bad tooth. So he crawls up out and they do this crazy, entrance with this guy all dropping down from the helicopter to attach this big thing and pull the tooth out. And then they put a big metal tooth in there or whatever in less time than it takes me to get, a filling. I don't know. It's just, I was like, I'm sorry. It's really dumb. And this is my other thing. And then I'll let you talk about.
Okay. I'm just waiting. I'm enjoying this. Okay.
I can watch this and I can believe, the big, huge monkey and the big, lizard and all that stuff. And I can accept them. But what I have trouble accepting is the people in it, the human characters, not acting the way you would expect humans to act, or not, having conversations that you would expect them to have. It's just everything was kind of just unnatural. I don't know.
All right.
It was weird. So
Pat, you really probably want to get around to this now so far, right?
Yeah. Great. I love a trip to the dentist. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Right.
Seriously.
So, Mike, so first of all, for anybody who's not aware of what's it called again, the Monsterverse, Pat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Legendaries.
Yeah, Legendaries Monsterverse. This is a continuation in that. This is we got Kong, then we got Godzilla, then we got Godzilla versus Kong. Or no, then we got Godzilla King of the Monsters, then we got Godzilla versus Kong. Now we got Godzilla Kong X Kong, and it might as well just be Godzilla's buddy Kong, right? That's what we kind of
joke. Skull Island in there at all?
What's that?
Was Skull Island part of that also?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's the first. That was Kong. Skull Island was the first one, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then Godzilla, I loved it too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Godzilla King of Monsters, loved it. Then Godzilla versus Kong, it was okay.
It was okay.
Now we got Godzilla X. Let's just replace X with buddies with Kong.
Yeah. This is the worst buddy film I've seen in ages.
Yeah, we joked about that when we saw the trailer. So let's I know you I was gonna say let's start there, but I know Mike, you already kind of ran on your rant already, but I'm just curious so it sounds to me like that whole thing we kind of complained about, for lack of a better way to describe it, from the trailer was kind of the backdrop of the silliness of this. You didn't even mention it. So what do you think? What did you think of that whole scene where, Godzilla and Kong are charging at the bad guy? What did you think of that?
I don't think I saw that outside of the trailer.
Oh, it totally happened. Oh, actually, because you only made it 40 minutes in. Yeah, it happens towards the end. Yeah. Because there's a whole thing with this. You might not. So you didn't even see when they teamed up at all then?
No, they hadn't teamed up yet.
Because there's a whole nother silly moment when they team up, when Godzilla comes after Kong, essentially. Like, Kong is excited, for lack of a better way to describe it, for Godzilla coming for help. He needs reinforcement. Kong's getting his butt kicked by this other Kong and his bunch of other little Kongs, like you were saying, Mike. And so they actually, not only do they make a metal tooth for him, they actually make a prosthetic arm kind of brace thing that makes him super punch, which that whole thing is kind of goofy too. But which the whole thing with the whole dental work and the arm thing is How did you do research for the functionality of these things? I mean, obviously they had a Kong tooth on the ready, but
Yeah.
mounting that bad boy, you know, and like you said, in a very quick, efficient manner to make it stick. Yeah, it's all so far-fetched crazy. But anyway, whenever Kong's waiting for Godzilla to come, he's kind of looking forward for the help because he's getting his butt kicked. Godzilla ain't in on that plan yet, so Godzilla starts attacking Kong. You know, it kind of takes you back to a Godzilla versus Kong kind of moment, except Kong is not really fighting at first because he wants to help, but Godzilla ain't having none of that. So there's this whole moment where Kong is being expressed to Godzilla. He's like, no, no, no. He's like, got this. No, no, no. And he's like pointing at the bad guys are over here. No, no, no. It's like,
Yes.
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and you know, interestingly enough, our, again, we mentioned him a bunch of times on this show. He's been part of Cover Combat. Troy, our local comics store guy, he's a huge Godzilla guy as well. So I mentioned Godzilla Kong to him, and he said he loved it, which was a little surprising because he's kind of an intellectual when it comes to stuff that, you know, I figured, you know, he would really not be down for all the silliness. But then the way I described it, and I'm going to bring this up again, as I always do. You know, part of my appreciation, I would say the main part actually, of my appreciation for Batman and Robin is my defense that even though I can obviously recognize that it's got super ridiculous and I know why people hate it, I look at it in the same frame of mind of the ridiculousness of Batman 66. Obviously, it's different, but you know, that's always been my thing defending. I'm doing a lot of quotes today. Defending Batman and Robin is it's like, just think about how silly Batman 66 was and enjoy it like that. That's my thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd kind of say that same kind of thing with this, which is disappointing to me. And that's what I told Troy. I was like, okay, if you like old school goofy Godzilla, I think I think you shared it to the group one time, or maybe on the main page, Mike, about there was that video comparing about how the new Godzilla just looks silly, and then it says old Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's all the ridiculous,
All the silly.
all the old
dance
school
that he
Godzilla.
would do and all that.
Yeah.
But when I was 10, that was awesome.
Yeah. But the new ones, all of them prior to this one were like, yeah, pretty serious, like legit realistic. And I was digging it. Right? Is that how you kind of felt up to this point, Pat?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like when they just kind of throw this curveball essentially. And what makes it even worse is they threw a curveball with the same exact characters, actors. It's the same exact universe. So it's like, how is this the same Godzilla? It's kind of how I feel about Thor: Love and Thunder. Man, I'm all over the place, but I'm going with it anyway. It's kind of like I feel like, how is the Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder the same Thor from the first Thor and then Thor: Dark and the Avengers? It's completely different. It's the same. You're selling it to me as the same exact guy in the same exact universe, but they're completely different personalities, completely different character, you know, the way they act, and just
they're doing stuff that they have never done. It's out of character, you know. It's
out of character. Yeah, that's perfect, Mike. Perfect. Yeah. So that's how I felt about this. So even though I didn't hate this, I totally agree with everything you said, Mike. It was just so ridiculous and silly. And just out of character for all those other movies we appreciated with these characters specifically already, you know?
Yeah. To put a positive spin on something, I did enjoy the fight between Kong and the bad gorilla.
Scar, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. He had that weird, I don't know, was that some kind of old spinal column whip thing, or I don't know. That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome fight. So I imagine that some of the fights later on in the movie are pretty cool visually. But I just couldn't get there.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. Everything visually was awesome in this. And, a lot, I would say a far majority of the choreography is pretty clever, and interesting, and fun to watch. But yeah, just goofy as heck.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying Godzilla -1 didn't do this movie any favors at all.
Right.
Coming out so close together.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yep. So anyway, just to kind of run down the plot real quick too on this, now that we've talked out everything else on it. Basically, yeah, like Mike just mentioned, there's an evil Kong named Scar who's been building a Kong army who was banished to Middle Earth. There's no
it's not Middle Earth.
There's no hobbits.
I always forget what it's called, but I always refer to it as Middle Earth in my head. And I'm like, but it's not Middle Earth. It's something like that. It's something
like Under Earth or something. Suburbs.
I'm gonna have to look it up because it's something so similar.
Okay. But anyway, so yeah, this bad Kong is building an army of other Kongs. And basically, they've been banished to, we'll call it Middle Earth until Mike figures out what it's actually called. They've been banished there by none other than Mothra, Pat.
Oh, my goodness. That Mothra.
Yeah. And this tribe of pygmy women or something. I don't know exactly how to describe them.
Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Oh, and you know what else is great? What's that show? That I watched on HBO with Kurt Russell and his son?
Monarch.
Oh, the Godzilla.
Yeah.
Monarch.
Thank you.
Monarch. Yeah. Your mic's back with
Great.
having issues. Anyway, Monarch was great too, and a serious flick. So anyway, Monarch really, actually, I didn't even realize it until now. We're just talking about it, but this movie leans heavy into Monarch. Like, there's things that you kind of need Monarch to fully get and appreciate in this movie. You don't need it to really watch the movie and enjoy it, but to really get it, you need Monarch a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, now this bad Kong has been freed by this journey Godzilla went to, which made him pink, which involved Tiamat, which that whole part was confusing to me. And then there's the frozen, the ice breathing. I'm trying to remember the name of the dinosaur. There's a dinosaur he looks just like, but he breathes ice. There's and Scar, that spine tail whip thing you're referring to, Mike, actually has a jewel on the end of that's kind of like a super sharp knife, but also controls the ice breathing dinosaur guy. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right. He came out. I remember that. But it didn't. Is that when that thing wrapped around Kong's arm? Is that why later on he needed that big metal contraption they put on there?
No, because when he calls ice breathing guy, he freezes Kong's hand, so Kong gets frostbite up to his elbow. So that's why he needs that prosthetic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that a result? He got that prosthetic thing as a result of that.
Of the freeze guy, not the chain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the freeze guy. That's right.
So basically, it's Kong and Godzilla versus Scar Kong, his minions, and Freeze Dinosaur.
Let me see if that thing has a name.
It does. You'll remember it when you get it.
Oh, and then Gmo.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Are you familiar with him, Pat, from back in the day?
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm not a big Godzilla lore guy. I didn't know whether that's because obviously Mothra is, and Baby Kong is in this too. Like Mike was mentioning, one of the most standout scenes early is Baby Kong tries to take on Kong. Doesn't try to take on Kong, but he's running from Kong, and Kong's catching him, so he's fighting back, of course. And then that's when all the other minion Kongs show up. And King Kong literally picks up Baby Kong and starts swinging him around like a bat and whacking everybody in the head with Baby Kong.
I can imagine the writing in the writer's room, them saying, you know what would be funny if King Kong picked up this little Kong and just started hitting everybody. It's like, that would be funny in a Mad magazine. It wouldn't be funny in Godzilla X Kong, a mega $1 million movie.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I should actually say that then. So it's Scar Kong, Minion Kongs, Freeze or Gimo. It's Gimo, right? Gimo.
She Shimo.
Oh, Chimo. Okay. Versus Kong, Godzilla, and Baby Kong for the longest time. But then Mothra is actually released. So then now it's Mothra versus them. And that's inevitably, spoiler alert, that's inevitably how they win because Mothra's awesomeness, you know. Which Mothra was awesome. Let me just say that too. Well, they did it. I thought visually Mothra was so cool, you know, but I'm with you, Mike, but I I actually had this conversation with my family about If, because I was having such a hard time getting through If, as I reviewed earlier, and after dinner, like on Wednesday or something, I'm like, let me go finish this horrible movie. And my family's like, why are you watching it if it's so bad? I'm like, I'm a professional. You got to suffer sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to get this done. So
That's my job.
yeah. I feel you, Mike, with Godzilla X Kong. I might not have made it the whole way if I really. Well, I feel like I'm a little bit more intrigued with bad things as well. Like I want to push through it to see if it gets to that end. Could this really be that bad, or is it going to save itself somehow? You know, but and like I said, I'll put Godzilla X Kong in the same category I put Batman and Robin. If you look at it from a completely different lens from everything that before it, you might be able to enjoy it. But it's just not a good fit for where I assumed, you know, Legendary's Monsterverse was going. So I'm going to give Godzilla X Kong a 5. And I'm being a little generous there because I do have a soft spot in my heart for Godzilla and Kong in general. But I think 5 bags of popcorn. Check it out on Amazon Prime, streaming now. Don't go in expecting too much. Just be relaxed and have fun. So.
And it's going to take me a few minutes, so I'll see if it works later on in the show. But I started watching it. It popped up. I didn't go to like Prime to do it. It just popped up on some ad. So I clicked on it, and there's I think it's the little girl is deaf, right? There's a deaf character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay.
She can communicate with Kong.
Okay. And I thought it was interesting because, you know, you've got subtitles. You can turn subtitles on and off. Well, this one was an ASL version. So there was someone in the bottom corner. There was a man in the bottom corner doing sign language.
Really? Huh?
Yeah. So I did it. I filmed. I was like, I'm not going to watch the whole movie like this. But I did film just like a 20-second clip of it, and I'm going to see if I can upload it to the show. Just because I thought that was really interesting. I was like,
that is interesting.
That's kind of cool. I never thought of that.
Man, it seems like it'd have to be so big you lose a lot of the movie for you to be able to actually see it. But I guess maybe if it's even if it's small, you can tell what the sign language is. I guess whatever. That's interesting though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I want to show it so you can actually get a. And I don't know how many movies that's on. I think for this particular movie, it kind of went in line with them having a character
that was
that was deaf. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. So I'm going to see if I can upload that.
That's actually another complaint I have about it anyway too. In the last movie, this girl was in it too with her mother. Mm-hmm. What was the last one? King of Monsters? No, Godzilla versus Kong was the last one, right?
I think it was Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was in that movie too. And in that movie, she was doing sign language, but I always got the impression in that movie that Kong was just kind of understanding what she meant. It could be kind of like if you talk to somebody who doesn't speak your language and you're using gestures and you're pointing at stuff and they can kind of make, put two and two together to get what you're trying to say. But that was the other thing in this movie, literally Kong's doing sign language to her. So he's like, I don't know where Kong learned sign language. He's like,
I think they talked about that in the last movie. They said that he actually learned it from her.
Oh, really? So as she's doing it, he picked it up is basically what we're supposed to be buying. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. I'll take it.
Kind of like Coco.
What'd you say?
Kind of like Coco, the gorilla. Remember they taught her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, cool. So that'll do it for what Kevin watched. A little bonus 4 and a long one.
Uh-oh. Kevin froze. I'm having trouble mailing this.
Sorry about it.
Oh, there you are. You watched it for a minute. So, I don't know what you're...
I was just getting ready to say, did you lose me for 10 seconds?
Yes. I can't get this to mail.
What was I doing? Just freezing? Was I sitting here frozen? Okay.
You were frozen and there was no sound. And then when you popped back up, your video popped back up. We were in the middle of the studio audience clapping.
Okay. All right, cool. Smooth. Are you ready? Or do you want to have us fill while you're still trying to do that, Mike? Or you're up next?
No, I'll work on it whenever it's not my turn.
Okay, good idea.
All right.
I wanted to put this up because, again, I was failing in my background production duties. I don't know whether Karen and Mom are still here, but Karen was chiming in on House of Dragons. She said House of Dragons like 100 plus years before. She said Casey, but then she corrected herself. Khaleesi is the main character, the dragon lady from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
And I think I might have said 1,000 years. She said 100 plus years. Okay, so it's not quite that far. It's not like Star Wars. So anyway, thanks, Karen, if you're still watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry, I should have been watching comments, but I wasn't.
Yeah. All right. Ready for you though, Mike.
All right. Pick 3. Here we have 10 covers chosen from a list of 649. This is as a shelf date of July 24th. Of those 649, 105 are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 variants.
Wow.
Or 104 are variants. The 100, there's
the 105th is the A cover, right?
A cover. Yeah, 105 covers.
That's insane.
It really is. It really is. Anyway, I could have done a whole pick 3 on the top 10 Turtles covers, but
sounds like we could do a cover Oh, wait, maybe cover combat 12. TMNT #1. That would be the worst cover.
It would be bad. Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So we'll start off with Green Arrow #14 from Zhang Jiang. Then Batman The Dark Age #4, Jorge Fornes, and that is the 1 in 25 variant. Conan the Barbarian #13, Dan Panosian. Berserker Face Full of Bullets #1, Matteo Scalera. Something is Killing the Children 39, Jenny Frison. Ultimate Black Panther #6, Boss Logic. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, Lee Bermejo. That is the 1 in 75 variant. You know, when they start getting into like 1 in 100, 1 in 500, they have a lot.
Yeah.
Zatanna, number 2, Javier Rodriguez, Batman Brave and the Bold, number 15, Kari Randolph, and Epitaphs from the Abyss, number 1, Tony Moore. That is an up and away variant, which is a store. I think it's out in LA somewhere. I can't remember. But that'll run you $20 if you wanted to go to their website and get that one.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And so there you go. That's those were our 10.
So I've got a lot to say about these. Should I just comment on them whenever you show us the top 3?
Yeah, we can show the top 3 and then come back and discuss everything. And every week I like to talk about how many didn't receive any votes. This week, every single cover received at least 1 vote.
Nice job. Congratulations to you, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
You deserve it when that happens, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it always feels good when all of them are liked.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll jump in. We'll do the 3 that won, and then we'll kind of discuss what we like and don't like. Okay. In 3rd place, we had Berserker, A Face Full of Bullets, number 1 from Matteo Scalera.
Nice. I voted for this.
Yep.
Pat?
No, I didn't vote for this one.
This is a Death Dealer homage. This has to be a Death Dealer homage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, that's exactly what
Yeah.
I went to.
It's awesome.
And I've always liked that. I didn't vote for this one, but yeah, this one is great.
Yeah.
Oops. Anyway, I almost gave it all away. Okay, in 2nd place, we have Batman: The Dark Age, number 4, Jorge Fornes, number 1 in 25. Man, if this was an open order, I'd own it.
Huh. How you feel about this cover, Pat?
Do not like it.
I do not like it either.
Yeah, I don't like it either. What am I talking about? I voted for this. I love it.
I'm sure we don't like it for opposite reasons or different reasons in some way, though, Pat. Why don't you like this one?
I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, well, this is the opposite because I got an extensive explanation that probably shouldn't be extensive. First of all, I don't like, again, it's just it's plain background. And then I feel like they're just trying to win me over, people like me that don't like plain backgrounds that much. Apparently, that's a thing for me lately. But then you're trying to win me over with the rain because I'm a rain sucker. So I resent it even more. I don't like it.
They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes or sucker you.
Exactly. Right.
Batman just doesn't look imposing. He looks just like a guy on a bike cosplaying as Batman.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah,
That is fair.
That's like a Batman 66 bike too.
It almost looks like Batgirl's bike.
Oh, Batgirls. Yeah, that's more what I'm thinking. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I still like it. It's the colors that white just pops for me, and yeah, I'm a fan of the rain also. So yeah, I like this one a lot.
Huh.
So I'm glad it came in 2nd. All right.
All right.
In 1st place.
Oh, wait. I need to
Got a drum roll.
Yeah.
There it is. Green Arrow, number 14, John Yang. I think I'm saying his name correctly. Yeah, I didn't vote for this one, but I love this cover too.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. I didn't vote for it either. Did you vote for this one, Pat?
I did vote for this one, yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely in my running for top 3. I ultimately didn't decide to go with it, but yeah, it's awesome. Man, that perspective art like that, whatever you call that kind of art is so crazy. It's so good,
Yep. Yeah, so that's a pretty unique looking cover there.
Yeah, we have his hand bigger than the whole his hand to his wrist, whatever, bigger than the whole rest of his body, taking out the cover, but it's good. It's like, what? You know, how do you pull that off? You know, it's awesome.
Skills, which I don't have.
Yeah. All right, cool. Very nice. So we already covered some of the things I wanted to talk about because of what ended up being the top three, with the Death Dealer homage and the rain fooling me, and how awesome that Green Arrow is. But man, that Abyss, that's so awesome. I don't know whether it's probably you might, we often joke in the group that you're such a major influencer to kind of get into things you didn't know you were into. And that's what's happened to me lately with horror books.
Yeah, and it might be because the ones that I'm highlighting have that, the 1950s, 1960s feel to them, because a lot of them are homages to those books.
Yeah. But that is so cool. Did you vote for that one, Pat?
I did.
Yep. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you know what? The whole show did. The three of us plus Karen. So
okay.
And it didn't even place. Son of a gun.
Yeah, well, none of my other family picked that one, which I was so surprised.
You know what's funny is, Tony. I love Tony Moore's artwork, but he is part of the reason that I didn't buy Walking Dead #1, because he's got that kind of cartoony feel to it. And for a zombie book at the time, I was like, I don't want to. It's too cartoony for me. When I think around that same time, there was a Bernie Wrightson Day of the Dead or something, some other book coming out that I was like, now this is zombie stuff. So
that's funny.
And when I go back and re-look at those early issues that Tony Moore did, I was like, man, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was just gonna use that as a segue to the next thing I wanted to comment on was the Zatanna, which I'm 2 months ago, I feel like maybe a little bit longer, but not much. I would have been like, yeah, I don't like that Zatanna. But I feel like you guys are pulling me in with these types of covers now too. And I really like that Zatanna a lot. Did you vote for that, Pat?
I was close, but no cigar.
Okay. But I'm tracking with those kind of books you guys are digging, right?
There, I think there was an Art Germ and a couple other covers for this that I could have put up there that probably would have garnered more votes. But it's like how many Art Germ covers can we fall in love with? So I just thought this one had a little more style to it, so that's why I went with this one.
Yeah, it's cool too. And then regarding Batman, is he standing on a gargoyle or is he standing on Man Bat's back? I mean, what exactly is going on there? You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is, anytime there's a gargoyle Batman and I pick it, I'm like, I hope Pat doesn't think that I'm picking it just to go, hey, here's another one, which I don't. But I thought that this one was Batman on a gargoyle, but just done differently. So,
what say you on that, Pat?
I voted for it.
Yeah,
I did a double take. I'm like, did he mean Dark Age Batman?
So is it because of what Mike said? It's just it's him on a gargoyle, but it's just different.
I think it's just I like that artist and his style.
The way he does Batman's face is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean that's valid with the Man Bat question, right? Imagine we're looking at Man Bat in that bottom, and Batman's just on top of him, right?
Well, he's not on top of him. Maybe he's sneaking up behind him, getting ready to put him in a chokehold or something.
Well, no, I'm envisioning Man Bat flying, and Batman's like on his back riding him.
I know. You've been watching Godzilla, King Kong. He's not going to ride on his back like a surfboard.
Well, thank you for that description because it's exactly what I was thinking. And then the only thing I have to say about the Conan is because obviously I'm a huge Conan fan, and I love that kind of art and Conan himself. But man, her face, I feel like that I could have drawn that face. Something up with that face.
Yeah, I would never say that I could have drawn that face, but there is something about it. She looks too Instagram model looking or something.
Okay, thank you for articulating that because I just knew it was something that wasn't right.
Conan looks great, but I didn't.
Yeah.
That was what threw me off on that cover.
Okay, cool. We're agreeing. Nice. And then lastly, with the Ultimate Black Panther, that's a cool cover, but again, that trade dress just takes me back to the 90s, you know? I mean, I just can't get past that with any of the Ultimate line, you know?
Yeah, the placement of that was terrible. I think it would have done much better on the top or bottom.
Are you guys tracking with the whole 90s feel with this whole Ultimate line? I mentioned that a couple times now, I think.
No, not really.
No?
Not the 90s. I'm not a fan of it, but it doesn't have that 90s feel to me.
Yeah.
But I think we all have there are different parts of the 90s that have different, you know.
Yeah.
Like and dislike. And
yeah.
But because there are definitely looks to the 90s books, and some of them I just really don't like.
I did almost buy that Spider-Man Reign when I was in the comic store this week, though. Because
well, holy cow. Marcus and I were looking at it yesterday. We're like, oh, check this out. And we opened it up, and like there's this one panel. It's almost like half a page, I think, of Peter Parker swinging through the night with that long, crazy beard. And I think he's in an underwear or something. It's like, what is that? And we both laughed at it and put it back on the shelf. Like, yeah. So I didn't get it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get it just because my budget. So.
Right.
All right. Well, that's all I had to say about it. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to add about them?
No. I liked all 10 of these. I thought this was a pretty fun, easy week for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. How did Mike from New York do? Did you get 3 votes from him?
Yeah. He did. Let me see. I think he placed on what? Yeah, he picked Green Arrow. Well, he picked Conan and Berserker. So yeah, Collins didn't do too bad. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Him and Tyler had the same exact picks, and they picked right. It's like I got ties, and then I got Mike's. So it's funny.
All right. Hold on. Dadgummit, man. I need to be on point with this more. Great job, Mike.
Now we get me first. Okay. I'll do this, and then I'm going to try to get that video uploaded.
All right, cool. Because I need to do something real quick too. That's the only reason I switched.
Only reason.
Where is my intro? All right. All right, cool. What'd you read, Mike?
So this was it was almost an impulse buy. I bought Wolverine Deep Cut #1. Went to the store yesterday, pulled this off the shelf because I didn't intend on picking this up. And actually, a few weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, I said we were talking about Wolverine books, and I said there's a Wolverine book that Claremont is writing, but I couldn't remember the name of it. And then when looking at the shelf yesterday, I saw it. I'm like, there it is. There's the Claremont Wolverine. And like a lot of people, the Claremont X-Men era is my favorite, especially the era that this book takes place in. So this is set let me get it. So it's Wolverine Deep Cut #1. This came out July 3rd. Chris Claremont's the writer, and Edgar Salazar is the artist. Philip Tan on the covers, which I love Philip Tan's artwork. And I had hoped that he did the interiors, but I have to say Edgar Salazar didn't disappoint. Just fantastic work. So this is set just after the Fall of Mutants storyline. So that, that's the era when I first started. First started reading right before the Fall of Mutants, and then had to go back to the Mutant Massacre and stuff like that. So that's my favorite X-Men era. And this book is just an all-out classic Wolverine Sabretooth fight.
Nice.
When I was reading it, it took me back to sitting in British Lit reading my X-Men books. And that makes my wife sad because she loves British literature. And I read comic books and slept during that. So we've got, basically the world thinks that the X-Men are dead. And Wolverine knows that Sabretooth, if he can't kill Wolverine, he's going to try to hurt somebody that Wolverine loves. So he knows that Sabretooth is going to try to kill Mariko Yoshida. So Wolverine's going to prevent him. He's going to kill him first and prevent him from doing that. And there are a lot of references to, they kind of refer back to Uncanny X-Men 227, which is the Fall of the Mutants. And also there's a few pages with Kitty Pryde in it, and they kind of harken back to this mini series, which, those are both Claremont books. So it's no surprise that he is referring back to old stories that he had written. And what I really, really liked about this was you open it up and there isn't this half page, 2-paragraph description to catch you up to speed. Claremont does that throughout the pages as you're reading them, that's the way, you pick up an old X-Men book from the late 80s and, it would give you descriptions of the characters. You didn't need to read a whole paragraph to kind of catch up, which I really like because I hate reading those paragraphs. If I want to read a paragraph, I'll buy it. I'll pick up a novel. So here's some interiors that Edgar Salazar did. Just fantastic. I really, really liked it. It was, fast-paced fight. It didn't get boring at all. And I kind of like this page because it almost reminds me of the McFarlane Wolverine with, the real big mask, exaggerated mask on there. So I like that a lot. So this is a get it. Right now, I think they've only solicited 3 issues. I don't know if this is going to be 5 or 6. I don't know. I can't see Claremont coming back for an ongoing. It would be awesome. So I don't know if you guys have heard any of that, but I'm surprised that Marvel and DC don't try to bring in some of these classic writers, because I think they're all still out there trying to work on one thing or another. So I would welcome an ongoing Claremont story.
Yeah, me too. Definitely.
I think Marvel's been pretty good about it, but basically all of them are set in past continuity. They don't want to put the classic creators on new stories. They want to shoehorn them into their past adventures for some reason.
Yeah, that's true, because that whole X-Men, was it X-Men Legends or whatever, they had 2 volumes of that, and they went back and those writers went back and filled in gaps in their own storylines. And this is kind of what Claremont's doing,
Yeah. David Michelini was doing it with Spider-Man. Peter David's done it on numerous little mini series.
I wonder why. I mean, I think it's neat, but I wonder why they won't give them current continuity stuff. Because
I don't know.
If you want to keep old schoolers in, man, as far as the old school readers, man, that's a shoo-in. I'm a sucker for it. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Go out and get your Wolverine deep cut. I thought it was great. It's not complex either. I mean, it's just a straightforward fight all the way through with a couple pages of flashback to Logan and Storm and some Kitty Pryde, a few Kitty Pryde pages. But yeah, I like it.
Different but similar. Did you guys see the teaser with Sabretooth, the OG Sabretooth from X-Men being in Deadpool Wolverine?
No, I haven't been paying attention to any of that stuff because I'm trying to just go into it with knowing nothing except for a few things that I've seen.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool, So anyway. All right, Pat, what you got?
We had talked about this sort of on the private group, and there was the big announcement that Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr.'s run of Amazing Spider-Man is ending soon. So I had to play some catch up. I paid first, then I had to play catch up.
Right.
I read a lot, and there's a reason I was able to read a lot, and we can kind of get to that as we go. I was right at the beginning of the gang war storyline. Is that me? What's going on?
Yeah.
There?
What?
Hearing a bunch of feedback.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
How do I sound?
You sound good now.
Okay.
Well, it looks like it was Mike.
Starting with Amazing Spider-Man 39. Got a couple graphics here. This takes you up through 43. This is Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr. for the most part. John Romita Jr. did the whole gang war storyline. Then we continue to 44 through 48, wrapping up the gang war storyline. A little couple issues in between, filling with Carmen Carnero, doing some Sinister Six stuff. Then we had 2 issues, 47 and 48, with Todd Knock on the art chores, it was a nice change of pace and good to see him doing the main Spidey book. And the artwork was really well done on those 2 issues. Not the story lived up to it, bringing back Chasm and Hallows Eve. Yeah, we'll kind of maybe get back into that. And then wrapping it up with 49, which was a Blood Hunt tie-in, and 50, which is the semi-controversial story with the Green Goblin returning and doing his nasty Green Goblin type deeds. Like I said, I could breeze through these so easily because there was not much substance behind the gang war. It just, you could blow right through it, and recurring themes started to appear that kind of runs through a lot of these issues I'm talking about, where you could definitely tell you were missing part of the story, which isn't good. If there's a big crossover and you can tell that you're missing a lot of the story, that's, I think, on the writer, because you shouldn't have to. I mean, it's nice to complement perhaps your storyline, but you shouldn't rely on having to buy every single crossover to figure out what's going on. And I kind of felt a little bit of that was going on here. From an art perspective, John Romita Jr. was fine here. He did a lot of consecutive issues here. Because of the rotating artists, I realize they can bank some issues and get some issues saved up and ready to go. So I imagine that's what's happening here. He did all the gang war stuff and in preparation, and none of it looked rushed. It looked all solid. But the gang war storyline, forget it. The 2 issues, 45 and 46, is just sort of like a come down from the gang war to give you a breather, I guess. But it was also setting up the Sinister Six returning, and a little bit of weirdness going on with Mary Jane's aunt. She was on an experimental drug that the mutants gave her, and it turned her evil. I don't know. Again, you felt like you were missing part of the story there. Moving on to the Chasm issues. I don't know. They were okay, but nothing special besides the artwork. Like I said, Todd Knock did a really good job there. The Blood Hunt, I guess we had to shoe in, one crossover event from Blood Hunt into Amazing Spider-Man. John Romita Jr. back on art chores here. It was all right, but I'm just not interested in the Blood Hunt storyline. Then we get to a lot of what I feel like this Zeb Wells run was building towards. They took Nick Spencer's, ideas of Norman's sins being removed. He was a good guy. He's the Golden Goblin. And, always in the back of your mind, you're thinking, the other shoe is going to drop here at some point, Norman's eventually going to turn evil again, revert to the Green Goblin. But the way it played out in this issue 50, it kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere. You know, again, I felt like you had to maybe read the Gold Goblin miniseries or other Spider-Man books to get a entire picture of what was going on. But it was disappointing in that you know they you could tell this was something they were building to from a long time. You know, from issue 1 of this volume at least. And it sort of fell flat. Um, the artwork did not. This is Ed McGuinness back on art duties here. I think he's doing this Green Goblin story arc here, 51, 52, 53, perhaps. And the artwork was good for the main story here. He uses a lot of full page splashes, you know, 3/4 page splashes, and the artwork all looks really good. If you're a fan of Ed McGuinness, I know some people don't love him. He kind of falls into that cartoony side, but I'm a big fan. But overall, the story, in a way, it's intriguing what happens here. Everybody probably knows what happened in issue 50, but I'm not going to go into it. You probably saw the covers for 50, 51, whatever. You
Yeah.
kind of know what happens to Spider-Man here, and a lot of people really hate it. It's kind of neat. It's kind of interesting if you're reading along, but I know a lot of people are going to really hate on Zeb Wells for doing it, and it's short term. Obviously, it's not going to stick. It gives great visuals. You know, it's great for visuals, especially with Ed McGuinness on art chores. But I know it's going to rub some people the wrong way. There are a couple backups. They had to take advantage of this being the 50th issue, and there's a few short stories in the back, all of which are pretty decent. That continues the trend. I think the last oversized issue of Amazing Spider-Man had a bunch of backups in it too, and they were all pretty high quality. And this continues that. A lot of good little short stories in here that I enjoyed. But as to the overall Zeb Wells, volume of Amazing Spider-Man, everyone seems to hate. I've defended it quite often. I didn't like the choices he was making, but I thought the writing was decent, usually solid. But these issues I'm reviewing here just kind of come off as meh, forget it almost. It's almost like a little bit of treading water, and maybe he knew he was getting ready to wrap it up, and so maybe that might account for some of the lackluster storylines here. It's tough. I doing these huge crossover events. The gang war thing suffered from that, I think, and probably they had to just, like I said, shoehorn a blood hunt storyline in here, and obviously that does no favors for long running storylines that a writer's trying to work on in a long running book. So, overall, these issues I'm talking about here, I'm going to have to say probably I forget it. 50, and I'm interested to see where that goes from here. Even though, like I said, a lot of people are probably not going to enjoy it. Take it for what it is. It's a story. It's obviously not going to stick. Just enjoy the ride. See if it makes sense story wise, and enjoy the artwork. And I would give 50 probably I get it at least, and I'm intrigued to see how this wraps up.
Where are they? Is 50 the most recent issue?
I think I have 51 and maybe 52.
Okay, because like Joe Kelly's taken over, right?
I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, I think I'm remembering that. I think he's only going to do like 8 issues. He has a story line that's going to run 8 issues, and then I think he's gone. And I'm surprised that they're not rebooting it. From what I've seen, it seems like they're going to continue with the numbering with Joe Kelly, and I can't remember who's on art. But which is interesting, just the way Marvel has been doing things in the past.
You probably answered your own question, because if he's only going to be there for 8 issues, they didn't want to start a new number 1 and hype it all up.
Right.
Sort of that, interim creator that come in and maybe they're trying to get to number 75 so they can do another double-sized issue. And then,
there you go.
And then immediately the next month start with a new number 1 that's also oversized, $7 book.
Yep.
Oh, Marvel, we know your tricks.
Yeah, I'm sure it's frustrating for the writers when they have to, like say, shoehorn in this blood hunt or this event story. It's like taking the wind right out of the sails for what they've got going on. But Marvel and DC, they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Go figure. Sometimes I think the fans are smarter than the editors and the publishers.
Well, no, we keep buying it.
Dang, we do. Who's the sucker now?
But yeah, it looks like 53 is supposed to be out in July this month. So I don't know if it's out yet or not. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yep.
All right, I'm actually thinking about starting to get Amazing again.
From what I've heard, though, if you're going to get a Spider-Man book, it's the Ultimate Spider-Man. What do you think, Pat?
I'm enjoying it, but I can definitely see where it wouldn't be for everybody. It's very wordy, not a lot happening yet. So, it's up to you, I guess.
Yeah. Or maybe try when Joe Kelly jumps on, it might be a good jumping on point. I think a lot of people like Joe Kelly's stuff.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how we get to where we currently are that you didn't want to mention, Pat. Because yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool, crazy. Could be bad. I don't know.
I guarantee you Ed McGuinness is having a fun time drawing it.
Yeah, it definitely looks cool. That's for sure. All right. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
All right, good stuff. I read something, and it actually confuses me a little bit more based on what you just showed with Amazing 49. But I read Wolverine Blood Hunt #1. Now I'm confused. Here's my confusion. Well, first of all, in the pregame, I was confused because I thought this was the new Wolverine ongoing, and this says Blood Hunt tie-in right on the cover, the exact same way Amazing 49 says that.
I know that's bad. That's a bad editor, in my opinion.
Yeah, because this looks like a new Wolverine #1 with just being a Blood Hunt tie-in. Just like that. I thought that, and that's why I would have picked it up anyway, but. That's what I was thinking when I got it. You guys corrected me in the pregame. The new Wolverine, volume isn't coming out until September. But yeah, that's what I totally thought it was. And yeah. So anyway, this is Wolverine Blood Hunt #1, not Wolverine #1 with a Blood Hunt tie-in. This is it should say Blood Hunt underneath Wolverine. It should be
exactly
like you said, be different. Yeah.
They should have just taken that. If they wanted to use that same logo, just turn it horizontally and put it right underneath Wolverine.
And get rid of tie-in.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. This is its own separate story. So anyway, well, it's obviously connected, but yeah, you know what I mean. But anyway, so this is written by Tom Waltz with art by Juan Jose Rip. I'm assuming I'm saying that right, but I don't actually know. I've never heard of him. I read issues #1 and #2. I actually picked up 3. Do you know how many issues this is going to be, Mike?
I don't.
So I didn't know anything about Blood Hunt. I've intentionally not jumped in on it because, crossovers, you have to buy 90 books. But basically, and I meant to ask you this about with Amazing too. Since that's only a 1-issue tie-in, for you to understand Blood Hunt at all, what do? Just spend the first page being very wordy, explaining what's going on with Blood Hunt?
Not really. A part of it too, I have to say, is I knew a little bit because I read the free comic book day that had the Blood Hunt stuff in it.
Okay.
So I'm like, in my mind, maybe I'm confusing what I read and what I didn't read, but there wasn't much explanation. They just basically, Spider-Man was like, vampires, it should be easy to deal with because the sun's going to come up. But guess what? The sun's not coming up when it's supposed to. And they rolled from there.
Yeah, that's from my understanding. The whole gist of Blood Hunt is somebody, we don't know who yet. Well, I'm going to actually lead there, I guess, but before the end of my review. But somebody's used dark magic to blacken the sky, so it's 24/7 darkness. There's no sun, so then of course they can use this advantage to just go crazy with turning everybody into vampires and, you know, becoming the all-powerful beings of the earth, right?
Yep. Until the spell wears off and the sun comes out and there's a bunch of dead corpses out in the streets because
No, they just go in their coffins like old school. You know, they just go take a nap. They go slumber. So anyway, basically the way this starts out is just, of course, kind of cliche. Wolverine, Logan chilling in a bar, you know, having a beer. And basically the way they set that up is just, you know, Wolverine's had enough. He's tired of everything he's been going through for 50 years now, you know, and, you know, he's just wants to be on his own. But of course, the events happening in Blood Hunt will not allow him to do that. And this actually referenced a book in 2020. I can't remember which one it was specifically, but I guess Wolverine had a run-in with Dracula in 2020 where they definitely wanted his blood because then they thought they'd get the healing factor as well. So then they'd be doubly indestructibly immortal, I guess. I don't know. But so since that's the case, what happens in issue 1 is basically a military unit comes in and tries to cops come in first and try to take Wolverine in. He's not having it. Of course, they're vampires because I guess that's what else is happening in Blood Hunt is just like everybody's vampires. So if you see somebody that's not a vampire, that's odd, you know? So like even normal people are vampires. So the cops come in and they're vampires to arrest Wolverine, you know, but, you know, Wolverine's not having it. So hack slash, you know, dead vampires. And then a little bit further in the issue, the military comes. I think it's the National Guard. Of course, they're vampires, hack and slash, dead vampires. And then some mercenaries show up. And now all of a sudden, Wolverine, we find out, I guess this happened already after the original battle against the cops. Wolverine calls on his old friend, this girl named Louise, a.k.a. Night Guard. She is a part of, I guess the Night Guard was kind of like Blade in the way that they're a bunch of vampire slayer. Well, actually, they weren't vampires. They were just a bunch of vampire slayers. Then she gets bit, so she becomes a vampire. But this is why it mentions the Dracula Wolverine issue is because in that issue, she was in it, I guess, and Wolverine took her to a place where vampires have control of their bloodlust. They don't have to kill humans to survive. So she learns how to control her bloodlust. So then she becomes like a Blade character where she's out as a vampire, just stalking, killing vampires. And since Wolverine had this event with her back in 2020, he calls on her to help him now with the vampires. And basically that's kind of what happens in issue 1. Then in issue 2, you can see that's Night Guard on the back of Wolverine's bike. Incidentally, there's no motorcycle in this entire issue. Just in case you're a motorcycle person and you really want this issue because of the motorcycle. But anyway, so Night Guard, she's a crossbow wielding. She's like Van Helsing too, you know, she's crossbow wielding vampire. Vampire that's a vampire killer. And then they're fighting all these mercenaries, and these mercenaries, Wolverine recognizes them from his past, and they're led by none other than Maverick, Which Maverick's an old. Is he an X-Force character? What he was? Does anybody remember Maverick?
Yeah.
Was he X-Force?
I don't think so, but who knows at this point? He could have been.
That's true. There's so many. But anyway, so Maverick he's a vampire too. So he's sending in all these mercenary vampires still to try to get a hold of Logan. And I guess for the whole, healing factor in the blood thing. So now Wolverine and Night Guard just spend this entire issue hack and slashing vampires trying to escape. And I'm not sure exactly how Maverick is constantly communicating with Wolverine. I think Wolverine picks up one of them earbuds from the other vampires, and he's Maverick's back at HQ talking to Wolverine about how just give up. You can't beat us. There's so many of us, and Wolverine's like, in no way, bub. And he's like, slash, heads off, everywhere. Night Guard saves him a couple times at the perfect moments while she's also fighting. And then there's some female vampire leader that I guess is in charge of all of these vampires too. She's leading Maverick. But I guess they kind of find out that it's Blade who is the ultimate kingpin of all this vampire activity, which of course they're like, wait, what? Blade's a good guy. So Night Guard's no, I'm killing him. And Wolverine's no, we need to find him and find out what's going on. So that's kind of how issue 2 ends. They're fighting for their life because there are vampires everywhere, but also they've kind of on a mission to find Blade because the information they've got is he's the kingpin leader of all the vampires, and they're conflicted as to whether they believe it or not. So it's pretty basic, mostly action. Everything I said about moving the story forward happens in very quick, panel writing, with just a lot of action in this. Kind of what you said about Wolverine cutting edge, or what did I say that wrong? Is it cutting edge?
Deep cut,
yeah. That this is classic Wolverine hack and slash action, which I love. So this is good. This is fine. I do have a complaint though, and it's the interiors. Man, I was distracted by this on multiple occasions, and I actually hooked up a couple pics to show you guys to see if you think it's just me, because it could just be me. This has happened to me many times before. I'm going to show you these pics, and you'll be like, oh, wow, that's good. And I'm like, oh, man, this is trash. We disagree like that sometimes. So you tell me, okay?
Okay.
So this is the first one that struck me, I think. It's like Wolverine needs to drop some weight or something. He got chubby or something.
Yeah, that top panel is a little rough.
Well, I'm actually looking at the bottom one is the worst in my opinion out of those three. It's just funky, right? You feeling me?
Yeah, I think the bottom panel is the best panel.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
The way his shoulder is on that top panel, and
oh yeah, that's kind of funky too. Yeah.
Where his head is, things so.
Yeah, I don't like any of them, but it was, I guess maybe I just noticed the third one as being the worst because it's the biggest one of the three. Yeah. But then also check this one out. I mean, it's like he's a different character. Is that like Bat-Verine or something? I mean, it's like you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. It's funky. You guys feeling me on that one?
It's not great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm feeling you.
Anyway, so yeah, the interiors, in my humble opinion, not the best. Obviously much better than I could ever do still. So it is what it is. But yeah, it struck me as just if I had a complaint about it, it would be the interiors. But it seems interesting, and I'll keep getting them for however long this not main storyline goes. What?
I have information for you. Okay, first off, Maverick was created by Jim Lee and John Byrne. First appeared in X-Men #5.
Okay.
And this is going to be 4 issues. And issue 4, it's funny. It says the shocking finale to Wolverine Blood Hunt might just be the beginning.
Uh-oh.
So who knows where that's going? But yeah, 4 issues. So you've got one more to pick up.
Yeah, I almost read number 3 with this too, but I just ran out of time. I had to get back to watching If, but you know, I have 3 already, so yeah, I'll definitely obviously be grabbing number 4 as well. But and you know what else is funky too, besides for you know, the Blood Hunt tag placement being identical to the tie-ins, and this is its own, it isn't a tie-in specifically, but whatever. It's the Wolverine whatchamacallums are the same. The font is the same. The trade dress is exactly the same as the main title too. It's like there's no distinguishing marks that wouldn't make you believe this isn't the Wolverine ongoing, you know?
And you bring up that trade dress. I have disliked this Wolverine trade dress forever.
Oh, really? I kind of like it.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
What say you, Pat?
It was fine. It was in line. It was in line with the whole Hickman run, you know. And
Yeah, Mike. It was
I kind of like.
Yeah, Mike. It was in line with Hickman.
Fine. I'm getting out of line.
It really though it kind of makes no sense that they continued it because that era is kind of over.
Yeah.
So why they just didn't go with a new one here, I don't know.
What's it? I can't even remember what it looks like on the new number 1 that was in Cover Combat, right? Is it look just like this as well for the new volume coming out?
I don't recall.
I don't either.
I'll look it up here. But I've got, once we're done with this segment, I will, oh, you know what? No, it's the classic awesome Wolverine. I don't know. It's probably not going to show up on there. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I like right there.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'll get in that line.
And that's right when you decided to cut Wolverine out. See, it's getting back to your roots, and there you are. You know, you're cutting Wolverine out.
Yeah. You know what? I can't even remember what it looks like on Deep Cut. There we go.
Oh, classic.
See?
Classic. Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So what's your what do you say? Get it, forget it, hard pass?
Oh yeah. Let me end my review with a total get it for Wolverine fans. I would say forget it for kind of everyone. It's just not good enough if you aren't a Wolverine fan. But if you're a Wolverine fan, definitely get it. But I wouldn't even say it's a must-have for Wolverine fans. I'd say apparently it's a must-have for Blood Hunt fans, because that's what Troy told me.
Yeah, the guy, his whole job is to sell you comic books.
Sell me more books. So anyway,
he's got stacks and stacks of Blood Hunt sitting there.
Yeah, exactly. Everything on the shelf, Blood Hunt. Oh, I did get the Scotty Young variant for this as well too, though. Because, you know, he's across all of the Blood Hunt covers, right?
Yeah. I think he's in all the Marvel books, I thought.
You have it here.
What'd you say, Pat?
You have it here to show us. No,
I don't actually. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That would have been good, Pat. See? Damn. Sorry about it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good though. It's a really simple one. It's just Wolverine diving in his goofy Scotty Young way with a plain white background, you know. So
yeah, that's the way all of them are. He's done that. You know, Marvel have a themed variant for the month.
Yeah,
it's Scotty Young right now. And yesterday, Troy tried to sell me all of them.
Right.
So
I thought it was just Blood Hunt, but it's okay. It's all Marvel. Got it. Okay.
I think so. Yeah, Marcus saw the Black Panther one, and he really liked it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Because it's on Ultimate Black Panther, and he's.
I mean, they're all cool. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it'd be a nice thing to put together if you could afford them all. definitely.
Yeah, and that's, Mark's like, we should get them all. And I said, no. And Troy goes, you should get them all. You want to get them? I was like, no, not at all. All right, but before we get to the next Pat segment real quick, I'm going to try. I've got that video clip.
Okay.
But I have to share my screen to show it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do a little screen sharing thing. Oh, it's not gonna. Oh, there it will. It'll allow me to do this, and then this, and then hold on. I've got to get over there myself so I can actually hit play. There you go. Oh wait, it's not showing it. Maybe I did the wrong one.
I saw it there for a second.
Yeah, he was there for a second.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, I love that part.
Oh my God.
So I didn't actually see him in any parts. I turned it off and went to the regular one before he actually got to people talking, but he did the King Kong. That was kind of cool. So that was it.
All right. So
I know it's
that is not what I was expecting at all. I thought it would be like a little corner, that was like cut out of the screen with a person standing in it. But the way they have him cut out, it's like he's in the movie.
He's in the movie. They did. There's no border or anything,
right? Like if there was a scene with a bunch of people and they were sized at about what his size is, it literally looks like he can be a part of the group.
Yeah,
it looks like he can mystery science theater things at any time and just like pat somebody on the head or something.
Yeah, and then too, I'm glad I know the sign language for roar now is apparently yeah. That's pretty funny. I don't know. Did you watch that on Prime? And that's a caption you can put on Prime. Is that what you said?
It was on Max.
Oh, Max. That's right. Yeah, Max.
HBO Max had it.
I'm literally gonna go rewatch that entire movie with that on.
When you pull it up, I think there's you have the option, the ASL option, to try it.
Is that a new thing, or we just haven't been paying attention?
That's the first time I've ever seen it. So that's why I'm wondering if they did it specifically because there's a deaf character and I think they may move forward with that technology probably.
I think it needs tweaked in some way.
I wish I had a better clip. I didn't realize that it didn't show
for a while there.
All the way through.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I did two. And I just grabbed the wrong one. Because there's actually a better one where there's the pterodactyls are flying or whatever, and he's doing all this weird flying stuff.
Okay, I want to see that. So upload that during Pat's segment.
All right, that's so much time. All right, I'll work on that. Hey, there it is.
Yep, there's Wolverine, Blood Hunt, number 1, Scotty Young variant.
Still has the tie-in.
Yeah, so that's better. It's not Blood Hunt specific. The Scotty Young cover was just part of the big Marvels. He did that huge collage image, and then they busted them up into 52 covers or whatever.
Yeah.
I see.
And yes, Karen, you'll probably ask me. I got this for you, so I got you covered. All right, cool. So I actually like when there's a mixed review of all the books we review, as much as there is weeks we all have good books. But what Mike's got a must-have, I think it was, Pat's a little mixed, and I'm kind of just go ahead and pass. Right? That's a good.
Mine's a get it. It's not a must-have. It's a get it.
Oh, it's a get it. Okay, I thought it was must-have. So, all right, great job, everyone, including me, if I do say so myself. No, I'm just kidding. I know I didn't do a great job. All right, Pat, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
All right. We still have a few more stragglers leading up to San Diego Comic-Con here at the end of the month. So we'll continue to throw a few out there as we see them. I thought this one was pretty cool. The idea maybe is cooler than the execution. We'll see what you guys think. Remember the old Star Wars arcade game, the original Vector Star Wars back
Love
in the
it.
day?
Yes. Yes. One of my favorite things ever.
So we have the Micro Galaxy Squadron by Jazzwares. This is a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. And this is an X-Wing and a TIE fighter in an arcade cabinet trying to sort of mimic that aesthetic of the Vector graphics back in the day.
I don't think they're quite pulling it off.
Yeah.
That looks like a Resistance X-Wing, the cartoon Resistance.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I kind of like it, but when you hear the price, which is $100,
Shut up.
you like it less, right?
I do like it less.
I mean, it's two of their ships. These ships are normally, I think, retail around $13 to $15. So you're getting two of them, $30 with a repaint. Just doesn't add up for me.
It's because that SDCC is on the cover.
Yeah. But,
Yeah. I'll pass.
Yeah, I will pass as well. All right. The other SDCC item I have is this cool print that I saw this week. This is celebrating the anniversaries of Usagi Yojimbo, Hellboy, and the Goon at Dark Horse. And the individual creators laid out their character. Mike Mignola did Hellboy, Stan Sakai did Usagi, and then Eric Powell painted the whole thing to finish it off.
That is really cool.
This is a limited edition of 300, and it's going to run you $50 if you want this at San Diego Comic-Con.
That might be something I'd be willing to pay if I was a big enough fan of these characters.
If I was there, I'd definitely try to track this one down, but getting it afterwards is probably going to be a little more difficult.
Imagine you getting 3 signatures on this too. That'd be so cool. There's nice space for it right beside them. That'd be great.
Yeah. We'll stick with the Goon. You can see there, he's celebrating his 25th anniversary. So Dark Horse Direct announced a Goon 25th anniversary statue.
Nice. That's awesome.
This is an edition of 250. That's a very small edition size.
Wow, yeah, it is.
It's going to cost you $220. Run through some pictures there. You can kind of see the scale. Close to 12 inches tall.
Well, that's good old school pricing there. That's good, right?
I think probably the old school, this back in the day would have been like 125 to 150. But that's not bad. 220 is not horrible. But as I always remind you folks, this is Dark Horse Direct. So you're not going to get that nice online pre-order discount. And their shipping is very overpriced, in my opinion. So that's what's kind of turned me off to Dark Horse Direct products. Most of them are well done, but they can be pricey.
You got an example of what this might cost to ship to you?
Not off the top of my head. It's probably going to be $25, $35 maybe.
So you're making a 250 statue then all of a sudden? Yeah.
For you, Kevin?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that's really cool in the back.
A little close up. I think you can kind of see it here. The water effect they did is pretty well done.
Oh, nice.
The zombie creature coming up from underneath the dock.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, and even the look of the wood planks look wet as well.
Yeah. The prototype is well done. Hopefully it carries through with the mass production, because this looks really neat. There's a close up of the Goon himself. Hopefully it's not coming up on my end, but
yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
Weird. I'm not seeing it. Um, yeah. So this is not San Diego Comic Con exclusive, but they're announcing it in conjunction with the Goons 25th anniversary and their announcements. Convention exclusive. All right, let's move and talk. There he is. He finally popped up for me. Move on to some McFarlane news. I thought this was a neat set for you. We talked about the horror Western genre. Jonah Hex in the General 2-pack. This is a McFarlane online exclusive and is going to run you $70.
That's really good. That's really cool. You know, it just reminded me, I never got my gunslinger on the horse. I pre-ordered that. What the heck?
You better email somebody.
Yeah.
Check into that one. Couple shots. There's all of Jonah Hex's accessories. Comes with a little collector's card stand. Weapons. There he is with his trench coat on, axe in hand. One for Kevin.
That's cool. That is a cool axe holder.
Yeah, I like that.
Don't forget it. You have it and sit down, man. Because yeah, but pretty neat set. It's nice to get his horse along with him.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I don't think I have any horse action figures, but I always think they're really neat looking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What you got?
Scout from the Lone Ranger, and I have Silver.
Nice.
My brother and I had both. I had Tano and Scout. My brother had the Lone Ranger and Silver, and I still have both horses with saddles. Actually,
nice.
I think. Actually, give me a minute. Go ahead.
Those would be like the big 12-inch scale figures. Yeah.
Yep.
In box or?
No. I just they're actually in Mark's room.
Hey, what is your shirt? Did you wear that shirt especially for today's show?
I didn't. It's just it was a Father's Day gift.
Oh, it's a T-Rex. It's not a dragon.
Yeah, it's a T-Rex.
T-Rex imitating Elliot.
Yeah.
T-Rex.
Yeah.
T-Rex.
T-Rex. Thank you.
But that's a cool.
All right.
That's cool.
All right. I'm gonna go get those horses. I think I know where they are.
All right. Well, Mike corrals those horses. Let's talk some more McFarlane. Recently inked a big deal. This happened during some of the time period we were off, and we never did talk about this, I don't believe. But Todd inked a deal with Marvel to produce some product. They call them statues, but they're more like action figures, non-articulated action figures. And here we got, and they're based on classic covers.
Yeah.
Like I said, we might be covering some old territory here, but I figured we'd spotlight them. Shows them how they're boxed. I think the presentation in the box is kind of cool too, because the one side of the box actually shows the cover that the statue is based off of. And the first ones we're going to talk about here are 1/10 scale, which makes them about 7 inches. So they're right in line with like Todd's main line of action figures, like the DC multiverse and all that 7-inch type figures. But these don't move, folks. They come on a base, pre-posed. There he is, sort of another shot, same picture, but a little blown up. The box, you can take the insert of the box out if you want a cardboard, cheap-looking background behind your statue, I guess.
Do you have it without the background?
I do not. I don't think they showed any pictures without the background, unfortunately.
That'd be interesting to see, because I feel like this might not translate as a statue, whatever, by itself. Like it works really well with this cool background, but by itself, it might be kind of,
Hold your horses, Kevin. We've got
okay.
Got a visitor.
Silver's the only one we have here at the house. Scout's in storage, but on Scout we actually have the bridle and the reins still.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean the whole saddle comes off and all that, and got a lot of articulation. These things were great.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So,
do you see any manufacturer identifying marks or year when that was produced?
Yeah, I've looked them up in the past. I can't remember now. you know, for anybody that's interesting, I'll look them up and I'll put them on the Xcellar Facebook page. Because I mean the figures were cool too.
Oh, you don't have the figures?
No. Nope. All I have are the 2 horses. But they
my mind immediately went to Mego, like, you know, late 70s, early 80s, but
yeah, I think these are definitely late 70s, 78, 79.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
That's probably who did them then, Mego, but I'm surprised at the articulation. I wouldn't have thought the horse would have had the articulation by
Yeah,
Mego.
it's great. And the hooves they have, like, you can hear them click to hold in. That was kind of stuck.
I mean, that horse is definitely cool, but man, if I were you, I'd be trying to track down Lone Ranger because that'd be epic with Lone Ranger.
Even the tail is
I mean, obviously, you know, but you know, just seeing that as a horse, it could just be just a horse, you know. But
right, yeah.
You have Lone Ranger on there, you know, and it's silver. It makes it a little bit more epic, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to dig Scout out. But anyway, there you go.
Cool, where is that in your house? Is it like chilling on the coffee table in the living room or what?
No, this was actually laying down up on Mark's shelf. He had it up in his room, displayed on the shelf.
Oh, okay.
And I remembered it was up there because just the other day I had to put something on that shelf for him, and I saw it. It's like, oh, that's right. So
very cool, very cool. Anyway, back to Spider-Man.
Back to these things that don't move.
Look at this awesome Spider-Man, Mike.
That is cool. I need to see it without the awesome background, though.
Ha! That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I actually think that shoddy cardboard background takes away from it. I would like to see them without the background.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it without the background somewhere?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I did or not. But all of the promo shots that Todd had up had the cardboard background, as you'll see moving forward here.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see that in the future because I feel like that background is what makes that statue looks cool. So we're completely on opposite end of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
We'll have to see until we can see it without one.
Okay. We'll see what we think of these other ones too. Here's Wolverine from X-Men #1.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
These are clocking in, by the way. These 1/10 7-inch ones are $30 retail.
I need to hold it.
Yeah. Again, with the I give him credit. I like the cover being on the entire side of the box.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's, the same kind of shot blown up. Next we have. Sorry.
I was just saying that's my Wolverine, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Next we have Deadpool from New Mutants 98.
I like it. It's good. It's good.
It looks just like that with that rigid pose.
Yeah.
Next up, Iron Man from 126.
Can I just say something about Deadpool real quick too?
Yeah.
This Deadpool is lost. The Deadpool we have now is not this Deadpool, in my opinion. He was obviously a wisecracking, one-liner, funny drop, funny one-line dropping character always, but he was just kind of a more slick, smart aleck, Are you guys tracking with what I'm saying? The Deadpool we have now, again, I'm going to go back to this again. The Deadpool we have now compared to this Deadpool is similar again to Thor Love and Thunder versus the first Thor and this new Godzilla versus the first Godzilla and Kong we got. I mean, it's just like I feel like they just go too far with things. And I feel like the current Deadpool is, aside from the costume and obviously abilities and stuff, almost a different character than this one. Do you guys agree with that at all, or am I crazy?
I definitely hear what you're saying. I think it depends on the writer. And I know when he was used as an example in Uncanny Avengers on a team, he was more toned down, but you could tell the writers still wanted to interject that total absurdity that Deadpool is today into the work occasionally. But it's obviously more blatant, I'm sure, which I can't speak 100% because I don't get them. But
Yeah.
in his own book, I'm sure it's totally off the rails like you're talking compared to
Well,
the first.
I read him, when obviously when in New Mutants, and then in X-Force, and yeah, and then my favorite Deadpool, and this is when Tyler fell in love with him for a minute too, and he completely fell away from Deadpool because he's so different. It was what was that? Ultimate Alliance, the video game, and Deadpool was in that. He's just a very cool, funny, smart aleck versus now he's, like you said, absurd, kind of funny. Smart. Anyway, just seeing this picture here now, and I really like this statue, this figure, whatever. I'm missing him. I didn't even realize I missed him. I miss him, Pat. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, if you have $30, you can have them right there beside you.
Right.
As a reminder. Yeah. So yeah,
All
there's
right.
Iron Man from Iron Man 126. There he is. Same deal, out of package, a little more straight on.
Man, these all are cool, man.
Yeah, I like these a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they're hit or miss for me. I guess I would have to see them in person, but this one, I don't know. And this one's at a different scale. I don't know why they're doing this. This last one I'm going to show is
What's
1/6
your
scale.
hit or miss about it? Is the paint or the posing or what?
Both. And unlike you, I'd like to see them without the cheap cardboard background. I think that.
Well, just to clarify, I'd like to see it too because I feel like
Yeah.
they might not be as good. But I don't know. But I would like to see it.
Like this Iron Man, for example, I don't always think that art translates to 3D to my liking. Like this the on the flat 2D page, they had to use contour lines to show off the musculature and things like that. And when you see them painted on a 3D object, it just doesn't look great to me.
I see. I was actually thinking that similarly with the Amazing Spider-Man, that obviously I love Todd's art, but I'm not sure. And I guess that's why I said that about the background here. I'm not sure that translates to 3D really well. I don't know.
Yeah, and to
I
wrap
need
it
to
up,
see the back of this guy. That's what I need.
I know. Well, I'll send the memo to Todd.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have a good point there because obviously he takes advantage of anatomy sometimes.
Yeah.
When you things are made in 3D, it's sometimes hard to connect the bone.
Yeah,
To
it's
the
not as
thigh bone.
forgiving. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, this last one from Todd here is a different scale. Like I said, I don't know why they did this, but this is 1/6 scale, and it's going to be 12 inches tall and run $50. This is Captain America from Amazing Spider-Man 323. You're muted, Mike.
I like it.
Can you go back to the other picture again real quick?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not bad, obviously. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think it looks cool.
That star. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple things that are just a little off. I need to see it in person.
You gonna buy it?
Yeah.
I love that cover though. That's for sure.
Again, like I said, different scale. Not sure why. You know.
Yeah.
But okay, so getting to our, I kind of commented in my tease for the show today. Todd just signed this big deal to produce Marvel product.
Yeah.
But he's out crowdfunding this week, and that is for Superpowers, his 4-inch scale line. This is the Collectors Club drawing board crowdfunded effort. And you can see there, that's everything they're trying to make in this production here. And then, but there's tiers you can back. The goal here is to hit $600,000.
Wow.
As of last night, when I wrote this down, they were at $114,000 with 19 days left to go.
It doesn't sound good.
So what's the lowest tier?
The lowest tier, as we go through them, is the $20 tier, and that gets you Black Manta's sea saucer.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants just a sea saucer?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Nobody wants just that.
Or we're kind of skipping a little bit here. Or you get $20 or $30 for the Bat Multicraft. Those are the vehicles alone. The $30 tier or the $20 tier. Add the figures, it makes it actually a little more price a little better here, because
definitely.
you're getting 2 figures plus the vehicle.
Yeah.
You get Black Manta, because what's the sea saucer without Black Manta?
Right.
And you get Aquaman. You got to have one character on each side of the sea saucer to balance it out, I guess.
Sea saucer.
And as far as the Bat Multicraft, you can get the set that comes with Batman and Robin.
You think it's the capes that make them more?
Or as we continue through the tiers, you can get the 2 vehicles for $45, or everything for $75.
Well, you definitely have your options. I like that.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't. They don't make sense, but
And I guess the math makes sense. This is the kind of math we're talking about, where you get more, you save a couple bucks than if you'd bought them separately. So yeah, that's how it should be done. Yeah.
I do like that about Todd. He seems to always get you a deal when you buy the whole set or the whole line, or
save a couple bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
A couple more higher price tiers. You got your everything plus an exclusive T-shirt with a Batman saying, "I'm Batman." I don't know. That's $90.
So the T-shirt is an action figure T-shirt.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 15 more bucks for a T-shirt and
exclusive T-shirt, Kevin.
Oh. Hold on a second. Do you get a black Batman too? No, you just get a T-shirt.
Just a T-shirt with a black Batman that says,
I want the black Batman.
Well, wait, for $15 more.
Pat, are you going to do that?
Yeah.
If I was Todd, I should have thought of that, but he apparently didn't, because the final tier is the $100 tier, where you get an autographed Todd McFarlane art card.
So is the art his signature, or I imagine there's probably like a piece of artwork on it, right?
All these things come with like little trading cards. I think that's what they're talking about. So I'm guessing on the back of one of them, signs it. Those are limited to 500. The first 500 people that back it at $100.
Okay.
The Todd McFarlane autograph.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna pass on this. This is not for me.
Well, that's, that could be the crux of the idea behind crowdfunding, because this is not a line for everybody. There's some repaints of existing figures going on here.
Yeah.
So that is perhaps why he went the crowdfunding route. It's definitely not going to be, a showstopper at retail. But you have those people that are all in on superpowers.
Hold that thought, Pat.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that Todd thought, this isn't for everyone, so I need to crowdfund this, right? But he thought jokerizing everybody that was gonna go. So he just packaged that up himself to sell it. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
That sounds like Todd is a little off his rocker on occasion, right, Mike?
Sorry, I was miles away. I was not listening.
I said Pat was giving a reason why he went crowdfunding on here, and I'm saying that doesn't exactly check out with me as logic based on the fact that he put out all that Jokerized trash that's in every clearance aisle now.
Yeah, he's not all of a sudden going to start using logic.
Well, maybe the warehouse said, these Jokerized figures are stacking up here, Todd. We gotta think about our product a little.
A new approach.
Oh, so maybe the Jokerized stuff led to this. That's where that's kind of the thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I was reading the comments. Sorry.
Oh, we have comments?
Yeah.
Anything that needs to show up now?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Freakenstein. Hey, Freakenstein, what's up? Thanks for checking us out. He's probably not here anymore. And then he commented, have you guys ever seen Duke comic art? I think that might be a sales pitch. I'm not sure.
I have not.
We haven't, Freakenstein. Comment below more information. Anyway, okay. Sorry, Pat.
Yeah.
Enough of a distraction there. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah. Just so you know, like I said, 19 days left. Go to McFarlane Toys online, and if you're interested in backing the Superpowers project, if they're made to order.
So man, I'm drawing a blank. What is it? Kickstarter. Okay, so
yes.
When you say crowdfunding, is that generic, or is there actually a crowdfunding? That's the name of a crowdfunding platform.
No, I don't believe so. Crowdfunding is like the generic term, I would say.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I just want to confirm that. Okay, so yeah.
Anytime
they put out something like this, trying to get people to contribute to develop it or whatever, it's called crowdfunding, right?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Finally, to wrap things up this week, we have another entry. We talked about the Kevin. You talked about the Ultraman Rising on Netflix a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they are doing SH Figure Arts in the line. Those are the pricier, more articulated figures out of Japan, which they have a cheaper version at Walmart. I can't remember if I talked about him or not. He's showing up on Walmart shelves for around $35. But they're also releasing the Ultra Dad.
What the heck?
He's actually talking about something. Did you say Mark was interested in Ultraman Rising at all, Mike?
I did not, and I don't think he is. He might. I think maybe I said that I'd have to show it to him because he might be interested in it.
Because I know Pat, you said you and your family all liked it, but this is an actual character in the Ultraman Rising, Mike. This isn't just like a Ultra Dad. This is Ultra Dad.
Okay,
that's pretty cool, right, Pat?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty neat thing.
Yeah.
Show. He was in the continuity of the movie. He was the original Ultraman, and he's middle aged, past middle aged. today, and this is what his look when he transformed into Ultraman towards the end of the movie.
Which was fun. I liked it. I liked that as well.
I did too. There he is posing in the traditional Ultraman.
And they even got the little mustache kind of thing.
Yes. There he is with the son posing together. Price wise, places like Big Bad Toy Store have this up on their website for $70 to $5. That's rough. SH Figure Arts are more expensive, but I looked them up. Retail in Japan, he's 88,250 yen, which right now translates roughly into $52 USD.
Say that again. You're cutting out a little bit.
He's 8250 yen in Japan, which is equivalent to about $52 right now, United States.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you have to pay for shipping, but it's easier than ever to get product from Japan. So if you really want Ultra Dad, you might want to look at the Japanese stores versus the American stores. Final shot there, he is posing. That they kind of helped each other out at the end to do one joined Ultra Beam to destroy the.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. Yeah.
So you can recreate that pose here. But that's it. That wraps up the Horizon for this week.
I added 2 more pictures there at the bottom if you want to put those up.
Oh, okay.
I'll start with the first one there. So that's the ad. 1973. Gabriel. Look at that. I think this was for Children's Palace. Yes, sale price at Children's Palace. $688 for a set. It's nuts.
You got the Lone Ranger silver. Oh, or so you got one or the other, but you got the horse and the figure for $6.88. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think they were boxed separately, so you buy each set. Yeah, I mean $344 for the Lone Ranger, $563 for silver. Yeah, I mean, and then if you go to the next one, Pat, it's the color version of both of them together. There you go.
Very nice.
Yep, I'm gonna have to. You're right. I need to look for the figures. They're probably going to be like $50 to $120 or something like that a piece. But then you got to hope they have hats, holsters, pistols, moccasins. Because I remember Tano's moccasins coming off.
Yep.
Yeah, all the pieces got to be there. So.
Yeah, that's going to make them even pricier because they had so many accessories to track.
Yeah. And there were other characters. So look in the middle. There are other characters from the Lone Ranger series as well. But this is 1973 Gabriel. It's the company.
Nice.
Yep. But all right. And then I have that video if you guys want to see that too.
They're kind of ahead of their time. Hey, let's save that for the recap.
Okay. Yeah, they really were. I think those were so well done.
I'm gonna put this back up too because Freakenstein still around. So we appreciate it, Freakenstein. He's correcting me that Duke Comic Art. He wasn't trying to pitch something there. It's a comic book artist. Okay. And so everybody check out Duke Comic Art. And then Frankenstein's a Transformer seller, I guess, because he was going to pitch something to us and be Transformers. Okay. Well, we love Transformers here, Freakenstein. Well, some of us, most of us, I should say. So, but thanks for stopping by, Freakenstein. So anyway. All right, Pat, that's all I had.
That was it.
Excellent. Always love the collectibles on the horizon, and I like Karen's final comment too. Okay. Frankenstein doesn't sell Transformers. He has a YouTube channel about Transformers. Thanks. I'm gonna check it out, Frankenstein. That's for sure. You gonna check it out, Pat?
I'll check them out.
Yep.
But here, Karen chimed this in while we were away as well, that she loves her job security. Our background production performance without her around. But she says we're doing good, though. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it, Karen.
Well, even if we're doing poorly, we'll be back next time.
You're right. All right. You ready to wrap this up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what you got up first here, Mike?
Oh, first, I was just writing one down. We'll buy our reviews. There's plenty of Wolverine out there to be read, currently out and upcoming stuff. So,
Plenty of Wolverine, and it's confusing.
yeah.
Boy, you asked if I was ready. I shook my head yes, but
That was a lie.
Well, I'll just go right into Godzilla X Kong is not Batman and Robin, and it's not Aquaman 2, but it'll sure give you the same feel that both of those gave you, according to me. So,
yep.
See my review on Godzilla X Kong.
almost the same feeling as a cavity in your bicuspid.
Right.
You know, when I was complaining about Godzilla X Kong, Emily reminded me that I like Starship Troopers.
True.
Yeah.
Well, it's all what you're prepared for, you know?
It's true.
Yeah.
So Starship Troopers better than King Kong X Godzilla. Godzilla, yeah.
Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah, it's all the same.
I always keep saying.
It
You
doesn't
got another
matter.
one, Pat?
Just a reminder to Todd, you know, Kevin needs those shots from behind.
Yes. Yes.
He also needs to see the statues without the background behind them.
Right. Yeah. How am I supposed to know what it's going to be like without that box if the only way I can see it is in the box in the pictures? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how's it going to look on my shelf?
Right.
Yeah. And, check out the new Game of Thrones series, House of the Dragon. Oh, this is something else I meant to ask you too. Is Godzilla a dragon or not? What say you? Go, Mike.
No.
Pat.
It's a lizard.
He's a giant lizard. Okay. What is a dragon, Mike?
Made up.
What is Godzilla?
100% real.
He's an imaginary friend.
What? If only.
Oh, maybe Godzilla was King Kong's imaginary friend. So he never really was there.
Oh, man.
Next, it's going to have a crossover with If next installment. Evan, one thing I wanted to ask about the House of the Dragon.
Okay.
Do the people in that world know the difference between a dragon and a
Wyvern?
Yeah.
You know what? That's actually a good question. I'm going to have the answer to that next show because I don't know. Oh, no. I don't think they do because, like I said, every creature we've seen is a wyvern, but whenever the people see them, they just holler, "Dragon! Dragon!" Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that does answer the question. Good question. Good question, Pat. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dragons are fictional large lizards that can fly. Godzilla is a fictional large lizard. And, so, I don't know. What say you? Comment below. Is Godzilla a dragon or not? So, anyway, what I was going to say about the House of Dragon, though, is House of the Dragon is don't believe any negative on it. Just check it out. See for yourself because I love it. And the only caveat I have to add to that is I also enjoyed the final season of Game of Thrones. So take that for what you will, because I'm definitely a minority there. So, Mike?
All I have is that video clip. I don't have anything else.
We'll play the video clip now.
All right. Let me share screen window. All right. Whoops. Dang it. Hold on. I'm new at this. I gotta hide that and hit play. There we go. So there's music. I don't know why there's no sound. Look. Let's see. So there you go.
I need to talk to a deaf person, or I just need to talk to someone who knows sign language, because how does that translate into pterodactyl flying? I don't. And why do you need sign language for that when you can just visually see that? They're not blind.
I think it's soothing music or something like that. It's what type
okay.
of music is playing.
Oh, okay. But,
uh,
fair enough. Interesting though. Nice share there, Mike. I appreciate that. Pat, you got anything else?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. We're not making fun of it. I think it's an awesome.
Yeah. I'm not making fun of it at all. I do think the whole concept of the way they have that guy on the screen in the movie is what is the funny part. Not having sign language in a movie. That's obviously awesome for deaf people, but did you say no, Pat?
Nothing for me. That's it.
Okay, I'm going to finish this out by saying, if you want to have a good time watching a movie, don't watch Godzilla X Kong's arguably a good time, but check out, what is it again? What is it? The one
Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk, an old, could be classic in the future, starring Kurt Russell and everybody else from all the shows then. So check that out. So, all right, that'll do it then. We got some extra questions from Freakenstein. Freakenstein, we're about ready to wrap it up today. We really appreciate you checking us out. Check out all our other videos. We'll definitely check out yours, and follow us, because we put these out at least every other week, sometimes more often. So,
and I think you talked about X-Men 97.
Yeah, we talked about X-Men 97 a couple shows. It's definitely covered more than one. I'm definitely enjoying it. So anyway, all right, here we go. Without Karen. Okay, please comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notifications of everything we post. Subscribe to Comics and Collectibles in the Crawl Space on Spotify for podcasters, or many other podcast providers. Got hundreds of shows to listen to on there. Having problems getting new ones up lately, but we're working it out. Follow Xcellar Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and or X, aka Twitter, and follow Xcellar_comics on TikTok and whatnot. Check out what we have to offer on eBay at Xcellar_comics. And if you don't want to buy nothing, you can help support the show in a different way through Patreon, patreon.com/XcellarComics. And I didn't change I did. Watch Cover Combat 9. Someone else did, I think. Round 3, Xcellar versus the World Edition, this coming Monday live, July 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then our next live stream, we're actually skipping 2 weeks. So I'm not even sure what the date. That must be the first Saturday in June then, August then. Yep. So that'll be our next live stream. So get your fill with Cover Combat for the next couple weeks, because we'll still be doing those live Monday night. We just have reasons we can't do the Saturday nights or Saturday mornings for a few weeks. But that's it. Did you see how I skated right through that, Mike?
Yeah.
No comment on how quick it was that time. Come on, you always busting my chops with how long it usually is. Now
I was thinking, I thought we weren't going to do that at all.
I feel uncomfortable not doing it, don't you, Pat?
Yeah, it's a nice wrap up. It went quick this week, but we're just belaboring the point now, and making it into Lord of the Rings like Mike always. We are. Okay. Yep. On that note, thanks for checking us out.
Thanks for all your comments, Freakenstein. Thanks, Karen, for being here for a few comments as well. And until next time, don't forget, appreciating great art is awesome. And reading a great story is also fun. So why not pick up a comic book and do both? Xcellar out.